The alarm woke Director Una Park at 3 in the morning. She sat up in her bed and felt her heart beating fast. The alarm was not a normal one. It was the special alarm. The one they tested every month but hoped would never sound for real. Containment breach. Level Omega.Yuna jumped out of bed and put on her uniform with shaking hands. She had worked at the Galactic Containment Station Theta 9 for 15 years. She had seen many dangerous creatures. She had handled many emergencies. But an Omega-level breach was different. There was only one creature on the station with that rating. Specimen 117. She ran through the metal corridors of the station. Red lights flashed on the walls. Other workers ran past her, their faces full of fear. Everyone knew what Specimen 117 was. Everyone knew what it could do. Yuna reached the control room and found her senior officer already there. Taeho Kim stood in front of the large screen, watching the security feeds. His face was white like paper. Report, Yuna said. Taeho turned to look at her. The containment field failed at 0247 hours. We do not know why. All systems showed normal, and then it was just gone. Where is it now? That is the strange part, Director. Taeho pointed at the screen. It is not in any of the places we expected. It did not go to the reactor. It did not go to the escape pods. It did not try to reach the outer hull. Yuna felt confused. Specimen 117 was not a mindless beast. It was smart. Very smart. For 200 years, scientists from across the galaxy had studied it. 3 entire civilizations had died trying to understand it. The creature was older than most star systems. It had seen empires rise and fall, and it had destroyed anything that tried to keep it trapped. Then where is it? Yuna asked. Taeho swallowed hard. Human quarters. Level 7. It stopped moving about 10 minutes ago. Stopped moving? Yuna could not believe what she was hearing. Specimen 117 never stopped moving. It was always flowing, always searching, always hungry. It could eat through any material. Metal, stone, energy shields. Nothing could stop it. The creature was like a living acid that could think. Yes, Director. It stopped at someone's workstation and has not moved since. Yuna walked closer to the screen. She saw the image from the security camera. There, in a small human room, was Specimen 117. It looked like a pool of glowing blue liquid, about the size of a large dog. It sat under a desk, pulsing gently with soft light. It looked almost peaceful. Whose room is that? Yuna asked. A junior researcher. His name is Do-Hwan Lee. He joined the station 6 months ago. He studies plant life from dead worlds. Where is he now? Cafeteria. He was getting a late-night snack when the breach happened. We locked down that section to keep him safe. Yuna thought for a moment. This made no sense. Why would the deadliest creature in the known galaxy break free from its prison just to sit under a desk? What was special about this room? What was special about this Do-Hwan Lee? She looked at the creature on the screen again. It had killed millions, maybe billions. No one knew for sure because it had existed for so long. The scientists who first discovered it found the ruins of a great civilization around it. Everyone dead. Everything destroyed. And the creature just sat in the middle of it all, waiting. Now it sat under a desk, glowing softly as if it was taking a nap. I want a full tactical team ready in 5 minutes, Yuna said. Energy weapons, acid shields, everything we have. We need to contain this before it decides to move again. Yes, Director. Taeho started giving orders into his communicator. Yuna continued to watch the screen. She had read every report about Specimen 117. She knew that it could change its shape. It could become thin like water and flow through the smallest crack. It could become hard like stone and survive weapons that could destroy planets. It could release chemicals that drove other creatures mad with fear. But she had never read a report about it sitting still. She had never read about it glowing peacefully. This was new behavior, and new behavior from something this dangerous was terrifying. Her communicator buzzed. It was a message from the science team. They had analyzed the energy readings from the creature. The results were strange. Specimen 117 was not preparing to attack. It was not building up power. Its energy signature was actually lower than normal. It was calm. In 200 years of observation, the creature had never been calm. It was always agitated, always pressing against its containment field, always testing for weaknesses. Scientists believed it felt only rage and hunger. They thought it wanted only to consume and destroy. But now it sat under a desk in a junior researcher's room, and it was calm. Yuna made a decision. Tell the tactical team to hold position outside level 7. Do not engage unless I give the order. Taiho looked at her with surprise. Director? Something is different here. If we attack and make it angry, we all die. If we wait and watch, maybe we can learn something. She walked toward the door. I am going to level 7. I want to see this for myself. Director, that is too dangerous. Yuna stopped and looked back at Taiho. Taiho, everything about this station is dangerous. That is why we are here. To watch the things that can destroy worlds. Today, I need to watch a little closer. She left the control room and walked toward level 7, toward the creature that had ended civilizations, toward something that made no sense at all. Do-hwan Lee was 26 years old. He had graduated from the Planetary Sciences Academy with good marks, but not great ones. He was not special in any way that he knew about. He liked instant noodles, comedy shows, and quiet evenings alone with his work. He had come to Theta 9 because no one else wanted the job of studying dead plants from dead worlds. When the lockdown happened, he was in the cafeteria eating a bowl of rice. The doors sealed shut and red lights started flashing. A voice on the speaker told everyone to stay where they were. Do-hwan finished his rice and waited. After 2 hours, a security officer came and told him the lockdown in his area was lifted. Do-hwan thanked the officer and walked back to his room. He was tired and wanted to watch one more episode of his show before sleeping. He opened his door and walked inside. He put his bag on his chair and sat down at his desk. He opened his tablet and started looking for his show. Then he felt something warm near his feet. Do-hwan looked down. There was a glowing blue thing under his desk. It was about the size of a large cat. It pulsed with soft light, like a heartbeat made of color. It looked wet, but not in a bad way. More like morning dew on leaves. Do-hwan blinked. He did not know what it was. He had seen many strange life forms in his studies, but nothing like this. It did not seem angry. It did not seem scary. It just sat there, glowing gently. Hello, Do-hwan said. The creature pulsed a little brighter for a moment. Then it went back to its soft glow. Do-hwan shrugged. He did not know what else to do. The creature was not hurting him. It was not doing anything bad. Maybe it was lost. Maybe it was tired. He decided to leave it alone and went back to looking for his show. He found the episode and started watching. After a few minutes, he got hungry again. He took out a cup of instant noodles from his drawer and added hot water from the small heater on his desk. The smell of the noodles filled the room. The creature under his desk made a soft sound. It was like a hum, low and gentle. Do-hwan looked down again. Are you hungry? I do not know what you eat. Probably not noodles. The creature did not respond. It just continued to glow. Do-hwan ate his noodles and watched his show. 15 minutes later, his door burst open. 5 security officers in heavy armor rushed into his room. They carried weapons that Do-Hwan had never seen before. Big guns that glowed with energy. The officers pointed their weapons at the floor under his desk. "Sir," the squad leader said in a tight voice, "please do not move." Do-Hwan had noodles in his mouth. He looked at the officers with confusion. There is a Class Omega threat under your desk. Please remain calm and do not make any sudden movements." Do-Hwan slowly looked down at the glowing creature. It had not moved. It had not changed. It just sat there, pulsing softly. "This thing?" Do-Hwan asked, pointing at it with his chopsticks. "It has been here for a while. It seems nice." The squad leader made a choking sound. "Nice?" "Sir, that is specimen 117. It has killed more living things than any other creature in recorded history." Do-Hwan looked at the creature again. It glowed a little brighter when he looked at it, like it was happy to have his attention. It did not look like a killer. It looked like something that wanted to be warm. "Are you sure?" Do-Hwan asked. "It has not done anything bad since I got here." Before the squad leader could answer, Director Una Park walked into the room. She moved slowly, carefully, like she was walking on thin ice. Her eyes went straight to the creature under the desk. "Researcher Lee," she said quietly, "please step away from your desk." Very slowly. "But I am watching my show," Do-Hwan said. Then he saw the look on her face. Okay. He started to stand up. As he did, the creature moved for the first time. It flowed across the floor and touched his ankle. Do-Hwan felt warmth spread through his foot, like stepping into a hot bath. Everyone in the room raised their weapons. "Do not shoot," Una said quickly. "Hold your fire." The creature did not attack. It just touched Do-Hwan's ankle and stayed there. Its glow became softer, more blue. It made that humming sound again, like a purr. "I think it likes me," Do-Hwan said. No one in the room knew what to say. Una stepped closer, her heart pounding. She had read reports of specimen 117 melting through ships. She had seen pictures of worlds it had destroyed. And now it was purring like a pet at the feet of a junior researcher who was more concerned about his noodles. "Researcher Lee," she said carefully, "do you know what this creature is?" The squad leader said, "Specimen 117. I have not read about it. It is the most dangerous organism ever discovered. It has existed for millions of years. It has destroyed 3 civilizations completely. Every species in the galaxy fears it." Do-Hwan looked down at the creature. It pulsed warmly against his ankle. "It does not seem dangerous," he said. "It seems lonely." The word hung in the air. Lonely. No one had ever described specimen 117 that way. Deadly, yes. Unstoppable, yes. Ancient and terrible, yes. But lonely? Una looked at the creature, really looked at it. For just a moment, she tried to see what this young human saw. A glowing thing that had come out of its prison and walked through a whole station full of rooms. And it had chosen to stop here, under this desk, with this person. Why? "Researcher Lee," Una said slowly, "please sit back down." "Really?" "Yes, and please, continue what you were doing." Do-Hwan sat back down. The creature flowed back under his desk and settled into its spot. It pulsed with contentment. Una watched the most lethal creature in the galaxy act like a happy pet, and she realized that everything she knew was wrong. The news spread across the galaxy in days. Scientists, military leaders, and curious observers all wanted to see the impossible thing that was happening on DidHFY. A creature that had destroyed civilizations was living peacefully under a biva. Humans' desk. Ships arrived every day. Important people from many worlds came to study the situation. They brought equipment and questions and fear, but mostly fear. Director Una gave them rules. No one could enter Do-won's room without permission. No one could try to touch or capture the creature. No one could threaten the young researcher. If they broke these rules, they would be removed from the station. Some visitors complained. They were powerful people. They were not used to following rules. But Yuna did not care. She had seen what happened when Specimen 117 was angry. She did not want to see it again. Dr. Jian Choi was the station's chief xenopsychologist. Her job was to understand how alien minds worked. She had studied hundreds of different species, but she had never studied anything like this. Every day, she sat in a chair in the corner of Do-won's room and watched. She took notes. She recorded everything. The creature, which Do-won now called Bomi, seemed to ignore her completely. It only paid attention to Do-won. "Why do you call it Bomi?" Jian asked one day. Do-won looked up from his work. "It is a name that means spring, like the season. When I am near her, I feel warm and hopeful. Like spring is coming after a long winter. You call it her? She feels like a her to me. I do not know why." Jian wrote this down. She had no explanation for it. The creature had no gender that anyone could identify. It had no body parts at all, really. Just flowing matter that could change shape. But Do-won had decided it was female, and the creature seemed to accept this. 1 week after the breach, something interesting happened. A scientist from a species called the Valori came to collect a sample from Bomi. The Valori were tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. They were known for being smart and careful. The scientist waited until Do-won was at his desk, then slowly approached Bomi with a small tool. The tool was designed to cut away a tiny piece of the creature for study. It had worked on other dangerous organisms before. Bomi did not like it. The moment the tool touched her surface, Bomi expanded. She grew 3 times larger in 1 second. Her glow changed from soft blue to bright white. She made a sound that was not a purr. It was a warning. The Valori scientist froze. His tool began to smoke. Then it melted in his hand, falling to the floor as liquid metal. The scientist screamed and ran out of the room. Bomi shrank back to her normal size. Her glow returned to soft blue. She flowed over to Do-won and wrapped around his ankle like before. Do-won patted the top of her form. "It is okay," he said gently. "He is gone now." Bomi pulsed warmly in response. Jian's hands were shaking as she wrote her notes. She had just seen Specimen 117 protect Do-won like a god dog protecting its owner. The creature had not attacked, but it had made its message clear. Anyone who threatened its human would face consequences. 2 weeks later, Do-won got sick. It was just a small illness, a cold from one of the alien visitors. His nose was blocked and he had a fever. He stayed in bed and slept. Bom. I did not leave his side. She flowed up onto his bed and settled near his pillow. She pulsed with a gentle rhythm, like she was trying to comfort him. And then she did something that made Jian call director, Yuna immediately. Bomi extended a small tendril and touched Do-won's forehead. She held it there for about 10 seconds. Then she pulled back and returned to her normal shape. Within 2 hours, Do-won's fever was gone. His nose was clear. He felt completely healthy. The medical team tested his blood. They found strange compounds that did not match any known medicine. But somehow, these compounds had killed the virus in his body. They had healed him perfectly. She healed him, Jian told Yuna. The creature healed him. Yuna sat down slowly. Specimen 117 has never done anything like this before. Specimen 117 has never had a reason to, Jian replied. It has never cared about anything before, but it cares about him. They watched the security feed together. Do-won was sitting up in bed now, talking to Bomi like she was an old friend. He told her about his day, his work, his thoughts. Bomi pulsed in different patterns, like she was responding. "What do you think is happening here?" Yuna asked. Jian thought for a long moment. "I think this creature has been alone for a very long time. Millions of years, maybe. Every being it has met has tried to capture it, study it, or destroy it. Every being has feared it. And Dowan?" Dowan looked at it and saw something that needed warmth. He was not afraid. He was not aggressive. He just accepted it. Jian paused. "I think that is the first kindness this creature has ever known." Yuna thought about all the reports she had read, all the deaths, all the destruction. She had always assumed the creature was evil, that it killed because it enjoyed killing. But what if it had just been trying to survive? What if it had been defending itself against beings that feared and attacked it? What if 3 civilizations had died, not because the creature was malicious, but because they had pushed it too far? What if all it ever wanted was what Dowan gave it without thinking? Kindness. "We need to contact the Galactic Council," Yuna said. "They need to know about this. They will want to take the creature," Jian warned. "Yes, they will." Yuna stood up. "And we need to make sure they understand what will happen if they try." She looked at the screen one more time. Dohan was laughing at something. Bomi was glowing brighter than usual, a light dancing in happy patterns. The deadliest creature in the galaxy had found a friend. And Yuna was starting to realize that might be the most important discovery in history. The Galactic Council did not send the polite message. They sent 50 warships. The fleet arrived at Theta 9 3 weeks after the breach. Huge vessels surrounded the small station like wolves circling a wounded animal. Their weapons were powered up. Their shields were at maximum. They were ready for war. Director Yuna received the Council's demand on her communication screen. The message was clear. Hand over Specimen 117 for relocation to a maximum security facility on a remote planetoid. No discussion. No delay. The creature was too dangerous to remain with humans. Yuna tried to explain what had happened. She sent reports. She sent video recordings. She sent Dr. Jian's research notes. The Council read everything and said it did not matter. The creature was a threat. Threats must be contained. End of discussion. The transfer team arrived the next morning. 20 specialists in heavy containment suits. They carried equipment designed to trap and transport the most dangerous organisms known to exist. Behind them walked a council representative, a tall being with silver skin and cold eyes. "Where is the creature?" The representative asked. "In Researcher Lee's quarters," Yuna replied. "But I must warn you. Your warnings have been noted and ignored," the representative said. "This creature has killed billions. We will not leave it under a desk because it seems to like one human. Take us to the room." Yuna led them to level 7. She walked slowly, hoping something would happen to stop this. But nothing did. The corridors were quiet. The lights were steady. Everything was normal except for the fear in her heart. They reached Dowan's door. Yuna knocked gently. "Come in," Dowan's voice called. The transfer team entered first, spreading out around the room with their weapons ready. Then came the council representative. Finally, Yuna and Jian stepped inside. Dowan sat at his desk. Bomi glowed softly beneath it, as always. When the armed beings entered, she pulsed a little brighter, but she did not move to attack. "Researcher Lee," the representative said, "please step away from the creature." Dowan looked at the armed team, then at Yuna. His eyes asked a question. She could not give him the answer he wanted. "I am sorry, Dowan," she said quietly. "The council has decided." Dowan nodded slowly. He did not argue. He did not fight. He just looked down at Bomi with sad eyes. "They want to take you away," he said to her. "To a place far from here. A place where you will be alone again. Bomi's glow flickered. The patterns in her surface moved faster, like she was upset. I know, Do-hwan continued. I do not want you to go either. But they are scared of you. They do not understand. He reached down and placed his hand on her surface. She flowed around his fingers, warm and gentle. I will try to visit, he promised. I will not forget you. Bomi trembled. Her glow became deeper blue, almost purple. She was afraid. After millions of years, after destroying worlds and surviving everything the galaxy could throw at her, she was afraid of being alone again. Please proceed, the representative ordered. Do-hwan stood up and stepped back. Bomi hesitated for a moment, then began to flow toward the containment unit that the transfer team had opened. She moved slowly, sadly, leaving a faint trail of light on the floor. She made it 3 meters before everything changed. Alarms screamed across every ship in the fleet. Warning lights flashed on every screen. The transfer team stumbled backward as their equipment began to spark and fail. The council representative fell to the floor, covering their ears. Bomi had stopped moving. Her surface was changing. Patterns appeared on her form, complex and beautiful. They moved and shifted like living things. Colors that should not exist danced across her body. What is happening? The representative screamed. Jian watched with wide eyes. She is communicating. She is trying to tell us something. The patterns became clearer. They formed shapes that looked like stars and planets. They showed timelines stretching back millions of years. They displayed civilizations rising and falling, species being born and dying, galaxies spinning through the void of space. And then words appeared. Not in any one language, but in all languages at once. Every being in the room understood them perfectly. I have searched for one like this for ages uncounted. One who offers warmth without wanting, kindness without expectation. I will not leave him. If you force separation, I will grieve. You do not want to witness how I grieve. The representative's face went pale. What does that mean? Witness how it grieves? Jian turned to look at them. Her voice was shaking. The 3 civilizations that were destroyed. The billions who died. It was not hunting. It was not attacking. Then what was it? Grieving. Jian swallowed hard. When the creature loses something it cares about, it grieves. And its grief destroys everything around it. Those civilizations did not die because they were prey. Those civilizations did not die because they were prey. They died because they took away something the creature loved, and it could not bear the loss. The room was silent. Everyone understood now. This was not a threat. It was a warning. And it was coming from a being old enough to remember when the stars were young. The representatives stood up slowly. Their arrogance was gone. In its place was pure terror. What do we do? They whispered. Yun stepped forward. We let them stay together. We protect their bond. We learn from this instead of fearing it. The council will not accept this. Then, the council should remember what happened to the last 3 civilizations that ignored this creature's wishes. Yuna's voice was firm. I have seen enough death in my career. I will not be responsible for more. The representative looked at Bomi, who had returned to her soft blue glow and was flowing back toward Do-hwan. The young human knelt down and welcomed her like nothing had happened. It is okay, he said softly. You are staying. They understand now. Bomi wrapped around his arm and pulsed with relief. The representative watched this for a long moment. Then they turned and walked out of the room without another word. The transfer team followed, leaving their equipment behind. Yuna let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Jian put a hand on her shoulder. That was brave, Jian said. That was necessary, Yuna replied. She looked at Do-won and Bomi, human and ancient creature, sitting together like it was the most natural thing in the world. Maybe it was. 1 year passed. The Galactic Council made many changes after the incident on Theta 9. Specimen 117 was removed from all dangerous organism lists. It received a new classification, Protected Diplomatic Entity. This meant that harming the creature was now a crime against galactic law. Do-won Lee received a promotion. He was no longer a junior researcher studying dead plants. He was now senior liaison for interspecies relations, one of the most important jobs in the galaxy. His office was 5 times bigger than his old room. It had large windows that showed the stars outside. It had comfortable furniture and good equipment, but the most important thing in the office was still under the desk. Bomi had a special bed now. It was a heated pad that kept her warm and comfortable. She spent most of her time there, glowing softly while Do-won worked. Sometimes she would flow up onto his desk to look at what he was doing. Sometimes she would wrap around his shoulders like a scarf when he was cold. They had become partners in a way that no one else could understand. The galaxy changed because of them. Word spread about the human who had befriended the monster. Species that had feared each other for thousands of years began to talk. If a human could find peace with specimen 117, maybe old enemies could find peace too. Trade routes opened. Wars ended. New alliances formed. Director Yuna was promoted to head of the entire containment network. She made new rules about how dangerous creatures were treated. They were no longer just locked away and forgotten. Scientists had tried to understand them. They tried to communicate. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it did not. But it was better than before. Dr. Jian wrote a famous paper about what she had learned. She called it The Nature of Connection, Understanding Alien Psychology Through Unexpected Bonds. It was read by millions of beings across the galaxy. It changed how people thought about creatures that were different from them. On this particular day, Do-won was reviewing trade agreements between 2 distant planets. The work was boring but important. Bomi dozed at his feet, her glow steady and calm. The door opened and Yuna walked in. Behind her were 3 tall beings made of living crystal. They were delegates from the Outer Rim territories, a region of space that had been fighting for decades. They had come to Theta 9 to negotiate peace. The crystal beings saw Bomi and stopped moving. Fear flickered across their transparent faces. "Do not worry," Do-won said with a warm smile. "She is friendly. Please, sit down. Would you like some tea?" Bomi raised part of her form, like she was looking at the visitors. She pulsed with soft light, a greeting she had learned over the past year. The crystal beings looked at each other. Slowly they moved to the chairs that Do-won had prepared. They sat down carefully, never taking their eyes off the creature under the desk. "We have heard stories about you," one of them said to Do-won. "The human who tamed the galaxy's greatest fear." Do-won shook his head. "I did not tame her. We are friends. There is a difference. How did you become friends with something that has destroyed worlds?" Do-won thought about the question. He had been asked it many times over the past year. Reporters wanted to know. Scientists wanted to know. Leaders of great nations wanted to know. Everyone wanted the secret, but there was no secret. There was only truth. "She was under my desk when I came home one night," Do-won said. "She looked comfortable. So I left her alone and ate my noodles. I talked to her like I would talk to anyone. I was not afraid of her because I did not know I should be. That is all?" "That is all." Do-won smiled. Sometimes the biggest problems have the simplest solutions. Everyone was afraid of her because she was different and powerful. Everyone attacked her because they thought she would attack first. But no one ever just sat with her. No one ever treated her like she mattered. The crystal beings were silent for a long moment. Then one of them laughed. It was a strange sound, like wind chimes in a storm. "Perhaps that is the lesson we need to learn," the delegate said. "Our two peoples have been fighting for so long because we are afraid of each other. We attack because we think the other will attack first. Maybe if we just sat together." "It is a good place to start," DidHFY agreed. The negotiations took 3 days. They were difficult at times. Old wounds do not heal easily. But whenever things got tense, someone would look at Bomi glowing peacefully under the desk, and they would remember why they were here. On the final day, the crystal beings signed a peace agreement. It was the first step toward ending a war that had lasted generations. Before they left, one of the delegates knelt down to look at Bomi. The creature pulsed curiously. "Thank you," the delegate said to her. "You did not know it, but you gave us hope." Bomi glowed a little brighter. That evening, after everyone had left, DidHFY packed up his things. It was time to go home. "Coming?" he asked. Bomi flowed up his leg, across his body, and settled around his neck like a scarf. She was warm and light, pulsing gently against his skin. Taiho Kim passed by the office and stopped to look at them. He had been afraid of Bomi once. Now he just shook his head with a small smile. "The universe is a strange place," he said. "It is," DidHFY agreed. "But strange is not always bad." He walked out of the office, carrying the most ancient and powerful creature in the galaxy home for dinner. In a few hours, he would make tea and watch his comedy shows. Bomi would rest in her spot by his chair. Everything would be normal, because in the end, that was what Bomi had wanted all along. Not power, not destruction, not fear, just someone to come home to. And that was what humans did best. They found the lonely things in the universe and gave them a place to belong. They looked at monsters and saw friends waiting to be made. They took the scariest, most dangerous, most impossible situations and made them simple with kindness. The galaxy never quite understood humans after that. But they learned to be grateful for them, because somewhere out there, even the deadliest creatures just want to be loved. And humans were strange enough to love them back.